Hey guys, welcome to my channel. I'm Jun Han. Now in today's video, we'll be talking everything about Tesla here in Malaysia itself. And I'm going to go through in 4 different perspectives. So first will be the looks, basically the exterior styling, the interior styling, and overall how it looks. The second will be the pros and cons of owning a Tesla or EV in general in Malaysia. Number 3 will be the price itself. And number 4 will be whether should you get a Tesla now in Malaysia. Okay, but just before we hop into these 4 topics, firstly, let me rewind back to 2 years ago, back in 2021. And I'm in a fortunate position to actually review and also test drive the Tesla Model 3, the Tesla Model Y, and the Tesla Model X. Now, it was a huge deal for me because back then, 2 years ago, right, Tesla really wasn't a thing in Malaysia, and for you to come across one is really rare. So for me to review, let alone driving it, right, it's definitely a surreal experience. So obviously this couldn't be done without 0 to 60 garage help. He actually allowed me to have a feel of how it feels like to review it, okay, and to share with you guys. That is why in today's video I'm going to share my personal opinion on what is it like driving a Tesla and whether should you get one. Alright, now let's talk about point number 1, which is the looks itself. Now let's take the Model Y for example, because the Model Y has its official launching here in Malaysia itself at Pavilion. Okay, now looks can be very controversial. It may be appealing to one, but then not appealing to another. But in my own personal opinion, right, I feel that the design is actually really unique. Because if you think about it, right, let's say you're driving on a road and suddenly you come across a Tesla. You immediately know it's a Tesla, right? Because the design of it is so unique, it's so bespoke. When you look at it, it's so different. You know that it's a Tesla. Yeah, so that's why I find it really, really cool. And then because it's an electric vehicle, right, the design is actually very minimalistic. You don't have huge grills, you don't have vents, you only have a very nice LED headlights on the front, a very nice LED tail lights on the back, you got large wheels, and that's about it. But nothing comes close to minimalism as compared to the interior of the Tesla. Now, the first time when I sat inside a Tesla, right, I was like, wow, this is how far Tesla has come. Okay, so futuristic, the design is unlike any other cars out there. Now, you may argue that why you're paying so much but you're getting nothing inside. Inside is basically empty, you only have a nice infotainment screen, a huge iPad in the middle, but I feel that's the main purpose of it. Because right, any other cars out there now, right, is so cluttered with technologies, you easily get confused with all the buttons everywhere, so many features. But for Tesla, it's so minimalistic that actually a lot of people also appreciate it, but a lot of people also don't appreciate it. Like I said, it's controversial, okay? And then even the aircon vents, right, they neatly integrated it on the dashboard itself. Yeah, that's the level of minimalism they actually went to. Okay, those are the little attention to details. You also have those wooden panel that runs across the dashboard. Yeah, it's actually really, really cool. I actually quite enjoyed the design itself. So if you never sat in one, you should, because the feeling is really different and it's nice. Okay, point number 2 would be the pros and cons of owning a Tesla or EV in general in Malaysia. So firstly, you can expect obviously the generic advantages of electric vehicle. For example, less maintenance because the car is more simple. You don't have a lot of moving mechanism inside the car itself as compared to internal combustion engine cars. So you got less wear and tear over time. You don't have to change parts. You don't have to do those routine maintenance, for example, oil change, spark plug, all those, say goodbye to it. You don't have to do any of all those. Even the brakes, because it uses regenerative braking on electric vehicle, right? You don't really have to change it for a long time. It lasts actually much longer than conventional cars. Alright, now we be thinking about battery replacement. You don't have to worry because I think Tesla, they provide 8 years battery and drive unit warranty. So yeah, it got you covered, and I feel that's the good thing about owning a Tesla. Second is it saves more money than pumping petrol, because according to an article from Paul Tan, right, it is actually cheaper to charge an EV than to pump a petrol. So it's 11 to 28% cheaper to charge an EV than pumping petrol. So yeah, those are the benefits. The third advantages will be the technology and how futuristic, how advanced the Tesla is. For example, you have things like autopilot mode. Basically, it actually steers for you. Then you have 8 cameras and 12 sensors to actually guide you. It's really advanced. Then you also have a lot of party tricks and games. For example, you got karaoke, you can karaoke inside, you can play games, you can watch movies. On the screen, you also have those live traffic update. Basically, you can see cars, right? It actually shows you how many cars are there, right? Then it shows you the signboard, that's right, the signage, even the traffic light when it turns red or green, it also can detect for you. And then you have things like bioweapon defense mode. Yeah, it sounds so fancy, right? Basically, it uses a HEPA filter to filter out 99% of those impurities, so you have ultra clean air to breathe inside the cabin itself. And even the key itself is a card, which is nice because you know every time your key is so bulky, right? You put in your pocket, it just sticks out, and sometimes you don't feel too comfortable. For the key, right, the card, you can just put inside your wallet and that's about it because it's so slim, or you can connect it to your phone as well and to use as a car key, which is nice. I feel that's a very convenient feature. Then you have over the air updates. Basically, you don't have to go to service center to every time update stuff. Basically, you just have Wi-Fi, you update and you get new features. That's one thing I feel very cool about Tesla. It's like, for example, right, last time they don't have things like they can shoot lights and perform music and all those. Previously they don't have it, but after over-the-air updates, right, you can do a lot of things. Yeah, it's so cool that you don't have to be there. What they do is basically they just update the software and it improves things like battery and all those things, right? It's so cool. And then when it comes to practicality, it's actually really comfortable as well. Inside, you have a lot of space. Okay, you have a huge boot space at the back, and if you that's not enough, don't worry, even the front hood, right, you open it up, you can put stuff inside there as well because you don't have an engine there. So yeah, in terms of practicality, it's more than enough. Now, let's talk about the cons itself. Okay, firstly would be the charging time. Definitely, it takes time to charge. But if you think about it, right, if you think a bit positively, if you charge it at home, now this one only applies to those who actually has a landed property, or let's say a condo, the car park has a charging facility, right? Yeah, it'll be much convenient for you. Basically, every time, let's say you can go long distance journey now, Tesla can go up to 400 kilometers over around there, which is more than enough when you go to work and all those. So basically, after your work, you come back, you just plug into the charger, charge, next morning, you got full petrol, and then you can drive to work and then come back, do the same routine, charge it overnight, okay? And you don't have to worry because Tesla, if not mistaken, after when it reaches 80%, it automatically cuts off for you so it doesn't overcharge. So yeah, so every day when you're driving, right, you start your day is with 100% battery, which is very nice. I mean 80% depending the threshold you set to, okay, because it's not advisable to put 100%. It's normally 20 to 80%. Yeah, so I feel it's okay, but if you're staying outside and you don't have access to charger, that one will be a bit inconvenient for you guys. Alright, but hopefully in the future they have more charging facilities. But I feel the charging facilities will get more advanced because now Tesla is official in Malaysia, so I'm pretty sure the infrastructure will get much better rapidly. And the next one, the cons will be maintenance. Now I said the maintenance is the pros, right? But they actually cons as well because this car has so many hardware and software, right? It actually tends to have a lot of issues because it's so futuristic. The design is so technologically advanced, right? The more advanced it is, the more features you have, obviously you got more issues as well, right? Yeah, so you have software issues, hardware issue, and the screen itself, right? If let's say that's the mind and soul of the car itself. If let's say the screen suddenly hangs or it blacks out or it doesn't turn on, there goes. Your car, you couldn't start, that's about it, you have to tow the car away. Yeah, so that's the bad thing about it. So the next would be the build quality. So Tesla is known for having poor build quality in terms of the panel gaps, okay? Even different cars have different panel gaps, uneven panel gaps, okay? But if I'm not mistaken, from what I've been told, right, the ones that produced in China and UK, all those, right, those are not too bad. But the one produced in US, right, that one always have a lot of issues, okay? But those are small, tiny problems only. And the last would be the lack of service center. So currently now, obviously, it's just launched, right? Last time, when great importers actually bring the car in, right, you don't really have much places to go other than Singapore. You have to send your car all the way to Singapore because the nearest one is Singapore. But now they have the official launching here. So I'm pretty sure in the future, there'll be service centers around Malaysia as well, which is a nice thing. Now, point number 3 would be the price itself. Now, Tesla, when it first launched in Malaysia, right, the price, it actually shaked the entire Malaysian market. Because if you think about it, right, the Tesla Model Y, right, from great importers, it costs around 300 to 400,000. In Malaysia, when they launched the base spec variant, right, only cost 199,000 before options. Okay, now that's really cheap. It really shocked the entire EV market. Okay, so for example, like the BYD Dolphin, if not mistaken, they actually put their price down because of how Tesla actually put it so cheap. So for the price, right, you have 3 different range to choose from. So first would be the rear-wheel drive standard version. So that one is only 109,000. Okay, then you have the Model Y second one, which is a long-range all-wheel drive. So that one will cost you 246,000. And the third would be the Model Y Performance all-wheel drive. So that one will cost you around 288,000. Now 288,000, right? For you to go from 0 to 100 in about 3 seconds plus, that's really a bargain, okay? So yeah, I'm not sure how did Tesla actually put the price so cheap, but it's nice to know that it's cheap, okay? But obviously this one haven't include all the extra options. Okay, for example, like let's say if you want to choose black color, silver color, or blue color paint, that will cost you extra 5k. If you want the metallic dark red color, that will cost you extra 10k. If you want a white color interior, that will set you back another 5,000. Okay, if you want a 20-inch aero wheels, which looks kind of cool, you just have those turbine wheels, so that one will cost you 10,000. So yeah, when it adds up, right, it actually is not that cheap as well, but then yeah, for the fact that you can get it much cheaper than great importers, right, it's really interesting. If you want enhanced autopilot mode, that one's 16,000. If you want full self-driving mode, that will set you back a hefty 32,000 ringgit. Okay, but for me, I think that's not necessary, that one, because the full self-driving system in Malaysia is actually not that well recognized yet. You can't really use it, you can't fully utilize it except for in the US, because they only recognize the map in the US. So I feel it's not necessary to go for that. Okay, but it's cool to have it. Now, in terms of the competitors of Tesla Model Y, right? So for example, let's compare the EVs, right? So firstly, you got the Mazda MX-30. Okay, that one is for 109,000 or so, but then it has much less range. And then you got the Hyundai Ioniq 5. So that one, it costs you about 207,000 to 270,000. Alright, then if you go a step higher, you got the Volvo XC40 for 280,000. You got a BMW iX1, so that one's 285,000. Mercedes EQA 300,000. Kia EV6 320,000. So yeah, for now, the cheapest car would be the BYD Dolphin. Now lastly, for point number 4 is whether should you get a Tesla now in Malaysia. Now, if let's say you're staying in a landed property, like I said, or in a condominium that has facility to or access to charging, EV charging, sure, go ahead, because it's really that easy. Okay, basically, like I said, you just do a daily routine, daily commute, come back, charge, next day full electric, and do the same thing again. Yeah, you don't even have to go to petrol station. So that's the good thing about it. And if you happen to go outstation or long distance journey, don't worry, because on the highway, you can come across fast charging stations. Basically, in 30 minutes, you can charge 80%. Obviously, you can't always do that, but for let's say if you're going for a long distance, that's when you actually need it. But then again, this is all my personal opinion. Now, I don't own an EV vehicle. This is all my knowledge only. So for those out there who actually owns an EV, if I got anything that is wrong, or if you want to add up, do feel free to leave it down in the comments below, because it's nice to share to everyone what the experience like, the pros and cons and everything, okay, on top of what I've just said. And yeah, don't forget that the Tesla Model Y was this year's best-selling car in the world. Alright, so for the first quarter of 2023, the Tesla Model Y is actually the world's best-selling car. And yeah, that's about it, guys, for my video. I hope you guys find it informative, and I hope I actually cleared some of your doubts of owning a Tesla or EV in Malaysia, and then it also teach you some stuff about the difference between EV, the pros and cons of it. But what's really exciting now, right, since the Tesla Model Y is so cheap, I wonder how much the Tesla Model 3 will cost, because that's the step lower than the Tesla Model Y. So it's very exciting to see what the future holds. So yeah, with that said, if you guys enjoyed, please remember to like, subscribe, and share with your friends, and I shall catch you guys next time. Ciao!